Hey everybody, Alex Kozora, SteelersDepot.com, back with some Pittsburgh Steelers tape breakdown and analysis. Nick Herbig, fresh off his $100 million contract extension signed earlier this week. That is in large part due to his pass rush, but his run defense, an underrated part of his game, and certainly one reason why he's a good fit in Pittsburgh for the long haul. Let's talk about it. Before we start, if you guys could like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the site, SteelersDepot.com, would really appreciate that. So we're going to go through just a handful of clips of Herbig's run defense from 2025. Here he is mid-season against the Colts, right outside linebacker, and watch him attack and beat this puller and disrupt this play in the backfield. And that's a different way of doing things. Sometimes Herbig will go around blocks as opposed to directly taking them on, but that's utilizing his athleticism and minimizing his lack of maybe innate size and strength to make the play. And so you see the right guard pulling around, might even be getting a pre-snap kind of tell here. You watch the right guard, you see how far back he's set. I don't know exactly what normal is for him, but sometimes when these guards pull, they're going to set back a little bit deeper in their stance because they're trying to cheat it a little bit so they can get some more depth when they pull. I don't know if Herbig is necessarily keying that, but you see him dip under the block here and really disrupt, even though the tackle didn't technically end up going to Herbig here. Other guys chip in. You see him make the play. I know that going around can be a little controversial, and you want to see Herbig finish the play as well. But TJ Watt will do this too, kind of take some chances and some educated and aggressively smart moments to go around a block and beat a block and shoot a gap to go make the play. And you see Herbig win in this way. Instead of meeting this puller head on, going to dip under him instead right here, get low, just like dipping the edge as a pass rusher. It really stopped Taylor's momentum and his teammates clean it up. Now let's watch Herbig take on a block, shed it, and make the play. Here he is, right outside linebacker, facing 88, the tight end, hold the edge, slip the block, using his hands well, shedding the block, and then getting in and making the stop. And while it's a tight end, it's a very good blocking tight end. That's 88 Charlie Kolar, who just got paid by the Chargers this offseason, and until Darnell Washington's deal was the highest paid blocking tight end in the NFL. So this is not some sort of move tight end who can't block. And you see Herbig set the edge here, initially utilize his hands well, that pass rush ability kind of showing through, getting off a block. And it's a good job. It's a good initial punch, getting into the pads of Kolar, and then be able to shed him. And so you see really Herbig control the block here initially, and then swipe and shed it, set that edge, keep that back inside to his help, and then make the tackle along with Cole Holcomb. That's a really good rep that you would see from Alex Highsmith or TJ Watt or quote-unquote more traditional outside linebackers of getting into the block, getting your arms extended, a good punch, swiping and shedding, keeping that edge set to keep the back inside and still making the play. Similar to the Colts example, the first clip that we looked at, we're going to watch the right guard 77 pull. Here is Herbig, the right outside linebacker, and you're going to see him dip under, and this is called wrong arming the block. The guard, the puller, is expecting the edge rusher, the end man on the line of scrimmage, to stay wide, and you're going to try to kick him out. And so Herbig's going to wrong arm and dip under that block, and it's going to spill and bounce and keep the runner, Judkins, wide. So that's a deliberate technique here. Sometimes that's based off a scheme where he's going to wrong arm and you're going to have somebody scrape over the top. And so you see Herbig wrong arm inside. That's going to keep the back wide. If Herbig stayed outside, it's going to keep the interior lane for the back to hit. They want to run off the inside of the hip typically on these trap blocks. And you see Wilson scrape over the top. The cornerback, Darius Slay, in run support, a nice job there. So Herbig executing that wrong arm technique on the puller, keep the run wide. You want to keep that back lateral down the line of scrimmage so he can't get any forward momentum. You see it here from the aerial view. Herbig dipping inside. Now the back has to jump cut, stay wide, down the track. Slay on the tackle, Wilson joining him. Herbig really helping facilitate that play by keeping the back wide and sort of screwing up the path of the intended run. Doubling game against Minnesota. Here is Herbig in a more confined space. We're going to see him take on the tight end, hold the point of attack, and then shed and make the play. So a nice job here, like that Baltimore clip, taking on the inline wide tight end, holding the point of attack, again, using his hands, getting in the pads. And so even though Herbig's not the biggest or strongest guy, play with good technique, you're going to win a lot of these reps, hold the line of scrimmage, and then get off the block, fill the gap, and make the tackle on the runner down here in the red zone. So that's good team run defense all the way around, but a nice job by Herbig. Quick look from the aerial up top view. Herbig controlling that block the whole way, shedding, making the stop for just a short gain. So it's a good rep there from Nick Herbig, no question about that. And so when he has to take on blocks, you see him be able to do it against these tight ends. Last example, the Chargers are running this split zone scheme with the Y off. He's going to pull across the formation. Left tackle is going to try to reach to Herbig, who's kind of split wide here with a tight end. Out wide, the reduced split by the slot receiver, and Herbig dipping inside, not letting the left tackle get hands on, and knifing through for a tackle for loss. I know the Chargers line was a mess. I know this is not Rashawn Slater, yada yada, but just looking at the rep, we looked at more than one rep, obviously, and so this is not just a one-off thing for Herbig. You're going to see him be able to utilize his strength, his flexibility, his lack of size, being able to kind of get skinny, dip through when he's facing these bigger tackles, but you've also seen him hold the point of attack against tight ends. And then here's a good finish. That first clip against Jonathan Taylor, couldn't wrap up here. He does emphatically and makes the stop. And so you see left tackle trying to reach in space, Herbig using his hands, getting low, dipping that inside or outside shoulder, I should say, beating the block, and then also making the tackle. A really nice play here from Nick Herbig. One last look. So, Nick Herbig, impact player, primarily because of his pass rush. That's why these guys get paid $100 million, but the run defense, I think, is an underrated, overlooked part of his game. He's not quite as elite as Alex Highsmith, TJ Watt. I'm not making that case, but I think his run defense is better than you think, at least average, and honestly probably a little bit above. It may look a little bit differently, especially against some of these bigger tackles, but it works, and I think Herbig has shown to play with good technique and play with good strength and hold the point of attack, especially when facing some of these tight ends. And so Nick Herbig, a contract well-deserved. How do all the pieces shake out between him and Highsmith and Watt? That'll all be determined once the year gets going. I know Pittsburgh already has plans underway, but happy to see Nick Herbig remain a Steeler for the long haul. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you guys watching. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, check out the site, SteelersDepot.com. Thank you again, and we'll talk to you soon.